From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the morning news for October 3rd, 2025. These are the stories we are reporting at this hour. Russian President Vladimir Putin was highly critical of European and particularly German boosts to defense spending during a speech at a foreign policy forum in Sochi in southern Russia on Thursday. The ruling elites of Europe continue to whip up hysteria. Putin said they can't believe what they're saying, that Russia is going to attack NATO. They're either incredibly incompetent if they truly believe it, because it's impossible to believe this nonsense, or they're simply dishonest. He said that Russia was closely monitoring the rising militarization of Europe and that it had to for its own safety. Are these just empty words, or is it time for us to take countermeasures? He asked the audience. Germany, for example, says that the German army should be the most powerful in Europe. Good. We listen carefully, understanding what is meant. While Germany has voiced ambitions to become the biggest spending NATO military force in the EU, this leaves some ambiguity about whether it truly seeks a military more powerful than nuclear-armed France's or NATO but non-EU member Britain's, let alone whether it meant to compare directly to Russia. Putin also claimed that Russia was making gains across almost the entire front in Ukraine, listing a series of locations and saying Russian troops had entered the strategic city of Pokrovsk. Discussing U.S. President Donald Trump's reference to Russia as a paper tiger, Putin said he was not sure if it was meant seriously. Are we a paper tiger? Then what is NATO in this case? Putin asked, suggesting that the West would deal with the paper tiger if Russia were one. Belgian Prime Minister Bart de Wever on Thursday voiced very strong criticism of a plan floated by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and others to use some 140 billion euros in frozen Russian central bank assets, most of which are held at the Brussels-based securities depository Euroclear, to finance reparation loans for Ukraine. It is estimated that another $300 billion are being held in various other countries around the world, though no concrete figures exist. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who backs the plan, said, "I will support any path that allows Russian assets to be used to further assist Ukraine and ensure that this war ends as soon as possible." Merz added that he expects a final decision to come at the next EU summit in 3 weeks. The German leader was upbeat on the subject, saying that he was leaving Copenhagen with the firm feeling that there is a very strong consensus. Turning to news from the United States, 2 planes collided at New York's LaGuardia airport on Wednesday, injuring at least 1 person in what the authorities described as a low-speed collision. The collision between 2 Delta Airlines regional jets carrying a total of 93 passengers and crew and staff occurred at 9:58 p.m. as one was landing and the other about to take off, according to a statement from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. 1 person suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to the hospital, the statement added. 1 flight attendant also suffered minor injuries. Delta said it would work with all relevant authorities to review safety measures following what it described as a low-speed collision during taxi. Operations at the airport were not affected by the collision, according to Delta. The Delta Connection aircraft involved in the collision is operated by Endeavour Air. Detecting no more signs of life, rescuers in Indonesia on Thursday decided to use heavy machinery to remove the debris of the school that collapsed on Monday. A part of the multi-story building of the school in Java collapsed on Monday while students gathered for prayers in the afternoon. 5 students were rescued on Wednesday, but nearly 60 teenage students are still missing, sparking fears that none of them survived the accident. After 3 days of relentless rescue operations, 5 people have been confirmed dead while 59 are still missing. The students were mostly teenage boys in grades 7 to 12. Female students were praying in another part of the building and managed to escape, survivors said. And finally, turning to Pennsylvania news, a Pennsylvania dog rescued with a cheese ball jar stuck on its head has found its forever home. The dog, rescued with a cheese ball jar stuck on her head, has found her forever home. We're thrilled to share that Dallas Cheddar has officially found her forever home right where her journey of healing began, with her foster family. Canine Rescue of Central PA wrote in a Facebook post on Tuesday. Dallas was rescued in August after a 2-day search in central Pennsylvania involving multiple organizations and 2 drone pilots. The desperate search began after a dog was spotted in the area of Dillsburg in York County with a jar stuck on its head. A drone pilot ultimately found Dallas deep in a cornfield late at night, disoriented, exhausted, and engorged with ticks. She was named in honor of the pilot who found her. Hanover Foods, which owns the company that makes the cheese ball jar Dallas got her head stuck in, saw her story and offered to pay for her vet bills. Now she's found her forever home, staying with a family that stepped up to foster her. She has a sister, Rue, who was also adopted from the Canine Rescue of Central Pennsylvania. Dallas has come a long way since being rescued from a cornfield with a jar stuck on her head after several days of searching. Now she's settling into her new family and her new life and her CRCPA alumni sister, Rue. We couldn't be happier for this sweet girl, the rescue wrote on social media, and we can't possibly be happier either. That's the news at this hour. If you like watching our news videos on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. PEP Radio is now available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.